Emerson Willis, and I'm doing a report for the Belle View Condo Association. We're going to be looking very closely at the flood risk for this association here in Virginia, in Alexandria. And once again, my name is Emerson Willis. I'm actually the co-founder and CEO of a company called NFIP Insurance, which I'll go into more detail about that later. But let's talk a little bit about what our goals here. Why are we sending this video? What are we here to tell you? We have some goals, and first and foremost, we believe in protecting people and educating them and giving them information that helps them make wise decisions to protect themselves and their property, their financial investments. So here, it's about the critical information that will benefit the association, the property owners, and understanding their risks of flooding and the related costs. Also, after we do that, we'd like to frame it out and really truly have the opportunity to do an in-depth review of the existing insurance coverages for the association and also the property owners. So pretty quite simple. Let me tell you what it is we have to bring to the table here. We have access to something that virtually no brokers use or have access to other than some underwriters. This is a program that took $80 million to develop, okay? It's a very highly powerful tool, and it specifically focuses on flood risk. We have different layers of data that work together to help us understand what's going on in that area or any area. We can look anywhere in the world, but right now we're going to look at Belle View Condo Association. We've got the FEMA overlay, we've got the NOAA storm surge, we've got the flood scope, we've got the world flood model. I'm going to go into that here in a moment, but it's exciting stuff, and I can't wait to share this with you to help you be more educated. Once again, we are NFIP Insurance. We do a lot of different kinds of coverages: home insurance, we do car insurance, we do residential, commercial, flood insurance, everything. So let's move on beyond that, and let's take a closer look at this powerful tool that we have access to, and we're going to let you see it. We're not charging anything for this. We don't plan on charging any more for looking at this data, okay? So I'm going to pop out of here and let's go right into it. Here we are. We're inside our program. This is a very powerful tool. Right now you're looking at the flood scope layer, and this is actually, they flew Learjets all over the entire world, and they shot lasers down to the ground every 15 feet to really measure the true elevation of the land. So they have a risk model here that they're showing you, based on that data, what the true risks really look like. FEMA maps, here's a FEMA map. Let me turn that on. This doesn't tell us anything about risk. This is just a rate map. This says, hey, you're in the flood zone. It's an AE zone, whatever. So here on this program, we can draw a line from one point to another. Let's say this building to the water, and we can find out what the elevation difference is. From that building to the water, it's about a 2.8 foot difference in elevation. It's only 832 feet from that point. It's not going to take a lot for water to get up here, which, you know what that means? Flooding. Does that homeowner have coverage for their contents? We know that there's a master policy in place, but does the homeowner know that if there's a flood, there is no coverage for anything inside of their place without a flood insurance policy specifically for their contents that they have to get personally? Same goes for any of these buildings. But let's click on a couple properties here and just take a look at some different elevations. Let's look at this one up here. Let's see how that one's doing to the water. 3.5 feet above the water. We've got this one here. 3.5 feet. Let's go a little further back. Let's take this one. It's about 4.3 feet. And I've looked at every single one of these buildings, and I've ran an in-depth report on the whole entire property, which I look forward to sharing that with you. Look at this property back here. It's about 6.9 feet above the water. You keep going back and back, you can kind of start seeing a picture here. 7.7 feet. The elevation really picks up back here. Now, I know that there's buildings in these, a lot of these, there's basements in a lot of these buildings, which drops your elevation significantly. It could be 8 feet. So you're looking at, this is some really powerful information here. Just taking a look, I can do a lot of different points here, and I'd love to provide more of them for you if you'd like to understand a little bit more about the different. See, there's a 1.6 foot drop from here to here. Let's draw a line across here to here. Interesting. So I don't want to spend too much time on that. I want to move along here. I want to show you a single point analysis. This is what I did for every one of the properties. So let's take a property that's a little closer to the water. This one right here. When I right click it, it's going to zoom in up right there. Here's the longitude and latitude. I'm going to analyze this property right here. Well, it's not really showing me on the screen. So let's just go ahead and analyze it. It's the one right underneath this window here. And what you're going to see here is it's going to show us a lot of information, which some of it won't make a lot of sense to you. But based on all of this information it compiles together, it's going to give us a risk score. And this is a very powerful score. FEMA doesn't do much. It just says you're in an AE zone. Okay. 3.7 feet above where the water's at in this building. And Insight Pro Flood Risk Score. This is the risk score I'm going to want the homeowners to really take a close look at, because anything above a 50, you're starting to get risky. I would recommend anyone with a 50 and up to carry contents coverage for your property, because when you get flooded, it's bye-bye. You know, you have to write a check to replace all your stuff. Your TV, your couches, your clothes, your everything. 86 is a very high score. That's a very risky spot, and that doesn't even take into account the fact that this has a basement, okay? So let's take a look at another property. Let's zoom out a little bit. This one's real close to the water, like we said. Very risky. Let's move a little further out this way and see what kind of score we get. So I'm going to pull the map out here. I gotta find it. We're gonna pull one of these buildings way out here. Let's do a risk score on this one. So you're going to notice that the Insight Pro risk score is a lot lower on this building. So it's about almost 7 feet above where the water's at, and you have a risk score of 40. That is actually a really good risk score. Our private Lloyd's of London carriers would love that score. Now the problem is, and what I mean by private carriers to Lloyd's of London, we can save you a ton of money when you're eligible for private carriers. That's an alternative option to NFIP. Okay. We write NFIP, and we also write Lloyd's of London. Now, this score 40 is not considering the fact that there could be a basement, so that can change that score. But it does tell you that the water is going to have to get up to 7 feet to flood the basement. So that's some pretty powerful stuff. I actually, like I said, I ran a risk report on the entire association, and I got a lot of different information. Most of the buildings scored very, very high on risk. So what I'm going to say there is, carry contents coverage to the property. You got to do it. If you don't have it, I can show you more information if you need to understand why you want to do it. It's not outrageously expensive, but please do it. Now, these buildings here, the first 13 buildings, I have them numbered the same way you have them on your deck pages, but I got one down as low as 36, 40, 40. These are all good risk scores. Now, that doesn't include the basement. So I would love to provide you this information. If you have any questions for me, I'm Emerson Willis. I'm the CEO and co-founder of YEPinsurance.com, YEP insurance.com, and this is information that you're not going to get from any other broker, okay? And if you guys don't have a risk manager that's providing this kind of information for you, I'm going to ask, please consider doing work with us. We do work from coast to coast. This is exactly what we specialize in. So we look forward to continuing the conversation. This isn't going to come at any cost. If you want to know more about these properties and more about this information, I'd be glad to provide it for you free of cost as a consultation. I'd love to do a review on any of your insurance policies. I would love to help you out. Thank you so much for your time. We're at www.yepinsurance.com, which you will learn we do everything insurance, and we're very good at it. I'm proudful about it. So I look forward to carrying on the conversation with you guys in the future, and hopefully we can be of service to you.